So to begin, let's go ahead and create our NextJs application. Now, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to open up my command prompt, and then I'm going to cd into my desktop. And into my desktop, I'm going to make a directory. Let me zoom in. That is called Convex-events. And then I'm going to cd into this directory, Convex-events. And then in this directory, I want to go ahead and create my NextJs application. So I'm going to use pnpx, which is a faster version of npx. You can go ahead and Google it. So pnpx create next app at latest. And then I'm going to use -- example so that it uses this template. So -- example. And then inside my quotation marks, I'm going to say https github.com/sankthomas/next 15-starter, which is basically this link right here. Now, if I do that, I can go ahead and right before actually I need to specify the name. So I'm just going to say dot so that it creates that inside this folder. So dot, and then let's say enter, and then let's wait for it to go ahead and create our application. So once our application finishes canvassing, I can just say code dot, which is going to open up an instance of VS Code into that folder, and we can begin building. And here we go. So if you take a look at your package.json file, you'll notice that we have a few dependencies already installed. And like I said, this is from a template. And this template has ShadCN, which installs this and this and this. And then we also install Tailwind Merge and Tailwind Animate. This I think also comes from ShadCN. And then we have Prettier plugin for Tailwind CSS, which helps to format our CSS classes. And then of course I created NextJs using Tailwind CSS, or that to use Tailwind CSS. And then in our app folder, we have a page folder which we can safely delete. So you can just say export default function home, and then you can just go ahead and return a div that says homepage, and you can save that. And then in our layout.js, we have basically the starter template. The only difference is the title and the description in our metadata. So let's go ahead and begin. And I want to go ahead and start by implementing our authentication. So Control J to open up your terminal. And once you have your terminal open, and actually let's navigate into Kind because I need to go ahead and get the link. So Kind, if you go ahead and go into kind.com, should be the correct link. This is the homepage, and if you don't have an account with them, you can go ahead and create an account. But I already have an account with them, so that's why I'm already logged in, and you can see that I have 3 applications right here. So what I'm going to do is, back inside my homepage, I need to go ahead and create a new application. And how do you do that? Right here, add application. I wish they made this button, or rather this link, a bit more prominent because it's a bit difficult to see. So add application right here. And then we are building a backend application because we're using NextJS, which is a backend framework. And the name for this, I'm going to call it Convex Events. And then I'm going to say save. And we need to use the technology that we need to choose the technology we're using. In this case, we're using NextJS. So select NextJS like that, and then say save. And then once you do that, we're going to go into the tab that says existing code base because we already have our NextJS application running. So why is our application running? We are running it on localhost 3000, so that is correct. And then for the callback URL, just go ahead and say set, because it's going to help us, or that's going to show Kind where to put the callbacks as well as the sign in and sign up pages. So go ahead and say set, because we need these values inside our env file. So set, which is going to set it inside your env file. And then for the logout URL, we want to navigate back into the home page when we log out. So we're going to say set as well. And then once we do that, we need to go ahead and install this dependency right here. So copy, and then we're going to say pnpm add, and then paste it in, because I'm using pnpm, by the way. So if you're not using pnpm, you can use npm or yarn. Now I'm going to say enter and wait for that to install. And there we go. So once that finishes, then we can go ahead and copy this entire thing into our .env local file. So copy, and then inside our .env local, which we need to create. So inside the root, we're just going to double click and say .env.local, and then we're going to paste all that in. Now, this is the client ID and the client secret, which is generated when you create a new application. This is the issuer URL, which is the URL that you're going to enter in when registering for Kind, and it has to be unique, I think. The site URL is this one because that is our homepage. And then when you log out, you want to redirect back to our homepage. And then when you log in, we don't want to go into the dashboard. We are going to create a link here, or a page that is called all-events. So, and then save that. And then let's see what else do we need to do. We need to create this file right here. So what we're going to do is inside the source, we don't have a source folder, so we're going to go inside the app. So inside the app, we need an API. So API, and then API, and then an auth folder. So another folder called auth, and then another folder that is called square brackets kind auth, like so. Make sure that it is camel case, so kind is a small k, and then auth is a big K, rather a big letter A. And then we need the route.js file. So inside this folder, create a new file called route.js, and then inside the route.js, we can just copy this and paste it inside here, and then save that. And then once we do that, then we have access to the register link and the login link, which is coming from Kind. Now let's go ahead and build this inside our homepage. So what we're going to do is inside the homepage, which is our page.js right here, I'm going to go ahead and return a section with a class name here of max width 3XL and MX auto. And then I'm going to say padding on the X is going to be 4 on mobile screens. Padding on the Y is going to be 20 for large screens and for mobile screens as well, so that we have a bit of space. And then we're going to have an H1 here that says login to, what's the name of our application? Convex events. Convex events. And then for the description here, let me just say lorem 20. And then below the description, we're going to have a div which is going to have 2 buttons. Now this button is going to be a component from ShadCN, which we have not yet installed. So Ctrl J to open up our terminal once again. Let's clear it, and then I'm going to say pnpx ShadCN at latest add, and we're going to add a button. I'm not doing init because we already initialized ShadCN right here, and if you're using the same method that I did where we cloned the template, then you already have the components.json file. And if you take a look at it, you can see that the base color that we're using is the neutral, and then it is targeting the Tailwind config file and so on and so forth. And the icon library that we're using is Lucid React. So we already have an icon library installed. So I'm going to say add button, and let me actually just go ahead and install all the components from ShadCN that we're going to need. So we need the button, we need the calendar, we need the card, we need the dialog component, we need the input, we need the label, we need the popover, which is going to be for the calendar, and then we need the sonar for the toast notifications, and then we need the text area as well for the event description. So enter to install all of them at once so that we don't have to keep on installing them one by one. Now, as that is running, it is going to create a components folder somewhere. Actually, let it finish running so that we can see the components folder being created. And there we go. You can see that we now have a components folder. And then inside the components folder, we also have a UI folder that has all those components from ShadCN. So that is looking okay. Now what you can do is right here, you can say Control Spacebar, and make sure that you use the one from Components UI button. Always use the one that is in your components folder, because ShadCN components are based off of other what are they called, packages. So always use the one that is in your components folder. So inside the button here, we're going to give the button a prop that is called as child, so that it passes down its properties to the next child component. And then inside here, we're going to have a register link. So register link from kind OSS and then kind Auth NextJs like so. And the register link is going to say sign up. Sign up. I can type it. And then we're going to copy this and then just paste it on top. This is going to be the login link. So login link. So once again from kind OSS like so. And then this is going to say sign in, or let me say login. I know I used sign in when I showed the demo, but let's say log in. Now I'm going to save that, and then inside my terminal right here, once again I'm going to clear it, and then inside this terminal I'm going to say pnpm dev or pnpm run dev, which is going to start our dev server. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a second terminal here, and this terminal I'm going to rename it, so F2, and I'm going to rename it to Convex, because we're going to be using something, or rather we're going to be doing something with Convex in this terminal. And then for the first one, I'm going to rename it to localhost, so that I know that is the one that is running my dev server. And then I'm going to add a third terminal here, which I'm going to rename into installs. So anything that we need to install, we're going to be using this third terminal. Now back inside here, you can see that our application is now running on localhost 3000. So let me go ahead and get it. So localhost 3000 like so, and then place this, I think, as the first tab. I don't think we need this anymore. I think we can safely close it. I hope I remember to do everything that I showed in the demo. Okay, let's just wait for this to open up on localhost 3000. So you can see right here, we're getting an error that says create context is not a function. That is because NextJS is server rendered by default. So what we need to do is, on top of our file right here, we need to change this into a client component by using the directive that is called use client. Now the reason for that is because the login link and the register link need to be on the client for them to work. So when I save that and we wait for this to reload, then we're going to see our login and our register link right there.